The worship of the Nebula Master as a teacher has not brought much change to Yi Ming, because others do not know his identity, only that he is now a two-star disciple, defeated the genius of the legendary school Yunfeng, and joined the legendary school. The next day, Yi Ming began to prepare to become a Samsung disciple. Becoming a Samsung disciple requires two conditions. The first is strength and the second is contribution. Both are indispensable. As long as they meet the conditions, they can automatically be promoted to Samsung disciples. Compared with two-star disciples, the treatment and status of Samsung disciples will improve a lot. To make a contribution, you must first go to the task hall to accept the task, and then complete the task. For each task you complete, you will get the corresponding contribution points. Of course, the higher the cultivation, the greater the contribution points you can get. In addition, if you have made greater contributions, individuals can also apply for contribution points. Yesterday Yi Ming defeated Yunfeng and gave a face to Nebula. He thinks this should be a great contribution. Therefore, he came to the merit hall dedicated to the contribution verification and distribution affairs in the morning. Gongdatang generally takes the initiative to find relevant disciples for review, and few disciples come here to apply for contribution points. Yi Ming was the first person in several years, so when he appeared, the elders of Gongdatang were stunned. In the huge work hall, a group of elders are working hard. Their workload is very heavy, and there are few leisure time. Practitioner Yi Ming, want to apply for a credit. When Yi Ming's voice sounded, everyone's eyes turned to the past. Apply for a contribution point. It seems that this has not happened for many years, right? An elder rubbed his eyes that had dried up because of looking through the materials, and asked, "Boy, do you apply for contribution? Then you talk about how much credit you have made." Yi Ming said, "Yesterday, the disciple of the legendary school Yunfeng, who stood in front of the Nebula House, tried to defeat. No disciple in the same realm of Nebula can win. It was the disciple who defeated him, and won for our Nebula. This should be credited." The elders were taken aback. There was such a thing. They looked at each other and whispered together for a while, and an elder said, "This is indeed a credit, but just how big this credit should be, we still have to discuss it, so come again in a month, we give you the answer." Yi Ming almost wanted to swear, but a little fart had to be discussed for a month. However, these elders are not bad, and it is a felony to call the elders to teach in the Nebula, so he can only come out with a black face. Wait a minute, I don't have to stay in the Nebula for a month. I am also a disciple of the legendary school. Better go there and report first. After that, take Tang Yuansheng, Su Yuanjun and Bai Yuanxian, let them practice in legendary schools. Do it as soon as he thought about it, and he didn't say hello to Mo, let the boy of time and space take him to the legendary school. The place where the legendary school is located, called Legendary Continent, is also a big world. The area of the legendary continent is even much smaller than that of the Tianyuan continent. However, it belonged to the core area of the ancestral continent at that time, so it has a high level of aura and rich resources, which is far beyond the Tianyuan continent. Different from other continents, there are no ordinary people living on the legendary continent except for the legendary academies, so the regulations are very strict. As soon as he appeared, he was locked in by a strong will. He immediately put away the space-time boy and stood still. After a few breaths, a white smoke appeared on the ground. A weird old man with black head and black face and white beard and white eyebrow appeared. He looked at Yi Ming and asked, "Boy, who are you? Why come to the legendary mainland? Newly recruited students? Nonsense. Now is not the time for the school to recruit people. How can you possibly join the legendary school?" The other side's eyes stared, and the thick murderous power came out. Yi Ming was startled, knowing that if he didn't rush to make it clear that the old man was afraid of killing, he quickly said, "The seniors didn't know." Yunfeng went to the Nebula to teach the school to challenge, saying that as long as someone in the same realm defeated him, you can join the legendary academy. The junior is not talented, and is lucky to win. It's strange that the old man immediately converged to kill, and laughed. It turns out that you are the righteous brother of Xiao Fengfeng. It's very good, my legendary school will have another day. Yi Ming wiped off the cold sweat, breathed a long breath, and asked, "Who is the senior? Why are you here?" The old man laughed and said, "I am here to worship the gods. I have been here since the day the legendary school was founded." Yi Ming was startled. Isn't the senior living so long? Isn't it human? Strange old man. Of course not, your kid's eyes are not blind. Yi Minggen laughed and said, "I also ask the seniors for guidance. Where can I report?" Sure enough, Yi Ming heard a surprise voice coming soon. "Brother." He turned his head to see that Yunfeng was flying from a distance, and there were two others beside him. Yunfeng fell, holding Yi Ming's arms with a big laugh. "Brother, I didn't expect you to come so fast." "Yi Ming. I'm fine, so I came over." Yunfeng pointed at the two behind him and said, "Here are two brothers from the undead house, Ning Yuan and Wei Baobao." Hugged his fist. "I've seen two brothers, I'm." A thin young man laughed. "Little brother Ning Yuan, everyone will be brothers in the same family, don't be polite." Chubby young man said. "Wei Baobao, brother, you can beat Xiaofeng, it is really." Yi Ming. "Fortunately, brother Feng is no worse than me." Yunfeng said. "Brother, don't comfort me, I'm here to get you the wind, go, and go to." Zhexianlu is really the name of a bad street, but the legendary institution of Zuoxianlu is by no means ordinary, because even the strange old man has widened his eyes. "A group of prodigals, you are just dead. Can you bring my elderly?" Ming Qi said. "Is the drunk Shanlu expensive?" Yunfeng grinned. "It's more expensive than it's ridiculously expensive. I haven't dared to go in for dinner for 10 years. The last thing Yi Ming lacks is money," and said, "I'll buy this meal." Yunfeng was anxious. "What did the elder say? I was interviewing for you. How can I make you pay for it? Naturally ask me to ask." Yi Ming thought about it. Brother Feng made sense. "Last time you were in a hurry, my brother didn't give me a gift. This time I will make up for it." Then he took the set of swords come out. Yunfeng was startled. "Good sword. Where did the older brother come from? This is not too precious, my younger brother cannot accept it." Yi Ming. "It's worthless stuff. If you don't accept it, you don't recognize my brother." Yunfeng grinned. The younger brother accepted it with a thick face. Yi Ming then handed over another ring, which had 1,000,000,000 long-lived coins in it, which he had just entered. Yunfeng didn't care at first, but he took a look and almost jumped up. "Brother, what are you giving me so much money for?" Yi Ming grinned. "My money is 10 times more than this. There is nowhere to spend. You help me spend it, you are my brother. We should share it with you. Do and quit." 1,000,000,000,000 yuan is not a large number for such figures as Yunfeng, but it is not a small number. But he is also an easy-going person, and smiles and puts it down. Yi Ming is just like his disposition, otherwise the two will not worship. Ning Yuan did not know that there was 1,000,000,000,000 in the ring, and said nothing with a smile. But the strange old man laughed very happy, probably thought that this time can eat a big meal. Yi Ming did not report, followed a few Yunfeng, went directly to the only restaurant in the legendary school, Drunk Shanlu. The so-called Zuoxian Tower is basically a run-down bungalow, even the tables and chairs are very old. Moreover, in the small-sized living room, there was not even a small second, and only one big yellow dog was lying there. "Huang, open the door to work." The strange old man screamed as soon as he entered. Picking the curtain at the back, a 5 big and 3 thick man came in. This man was like a butcher, wearing a ragged leather coat, and it was covered with oil and blood. When approaching, there was a stinky smell. Yi Ming pinched his nose. The man stared and said, "Damn, come and eat again. Did you starve to death?" Yi Ming is weird now, everyone else is Baba hoping to open a business. Why is this person scolded? Even stranger, Yunfeng and others laughed and said, "Don't worry about Lao Huang, we haven't been here for a long time." Strange old man said. Lao Huang, this time we are not bad money, there is a kind you can do all your favorite dishes. Lao Huang gave the old man a stern glance. Go to your mother, no matter how much money you have, I won't do it. No wonder the old man was not angry. If you don't do it, you just can't believe it. The words had an effect immediately. Lao Huang cursed and asked, what are you going to eat? The old man laughed and said, cook all your 18 dishes and add 2 altars. Kill your bastards. Lao Huang cursed and left. Yi Ming couldn't help asking. This old Huang has such a big temper. This is still good. He has hit people before. Yun Feng pouted his mouth and whispered, brother, this old Huang was a **** of killing. If he was not counted by the emperor, how would he stay here? Quote. Yi Ming was very interested, and quickly asked, hurry up, who is he and how is it calculated by the emperor? Yun Feng then marched, and it turned out that this old Huang Nai was one of the ancient monstrous beasts. Although he is a human being, he does not change his greedy temper, and eats the deliciousness of the 3 realms. He was so powerful that the emperor couldn't take it. Once, he broke into the emperor's residence, stole the queen's spirit beast and 8 precious beasts, and roasted them. The emperor was furious and set up a plan to leave it at the legendary school. As for what method to use, Yun Feng didn't know, and the strange old man didn't say it, making Yi Ming's heart tickle. He's a puppet, so why call him Lao Huang? Yi Ming asked. Yun Feng shrugged. I don't know, anyway, people have always called him Lao Huang, and we followed suit. The strange old man snorted. Because the hair on his body is yellow, it is naturally called the Old Yellow. Yun Feng. You are old, you can't tell us how the emperor made old Huang willing to stay. Strange old man. Can't say, if I say, Lao Huang will kill you. He is considered a shame, and he doesn't want to be known. Yun Feng said. If you don't say bones, I can guess a few points. I always say that this old Huang Chongnuo, and you always run on him without words. So I guess that the emperor must have used something like Wei, here is the old yellow pit. Quote. You know the fart. Ji Yu Lao rolled his eyes. He is so easy to be deceived, can it still be an ancient beast? Seeing no questions, Yun Feng will not ask a few, but bobbity and other dishes. While waiting for the dishes, Yun Feng said to Yi Ming, brother, this old Huang's craftsmanship is the best in the world, and no one is better than him. Moreover, the materials he uses are all the best in the world, so it is a matter of course that you are expensive. Quote. Yi Ming. We ordered 18 dishes just now, how much is a jar of wine? It's hard to say. Ning Yuan said, it depends on Lao Huang's mood. When he's in a good mood, he needs less points. If he's in a bad mood, he'll die. As he was talking, the old Huang came out and patted his hands on the table, somehow 18 dishes appeared. As soon as the vegetable fragrance came out, Yi Ming moved his index finger. Old Huang said coldly, 1 trillion, pay the money first. Yun Feng almost jumped up. What? 1 trillion. These dishes used to be tens of billions at most. Now you want 1 trillion. Is this stealing money? Don't eat and roll. Lao Huang was obviously in a bad mood and said fiercely. Yi Ming was also shocked. But that is 1 trillion long-lived coins. Can he only eat 1 table? What kind of dish is this? Shouldn't it be so expensive, even if it's Gengenfengden? Ji Yu Lao smiled. Hee, and said, okay, this is my old man please. Lao Huang, last time you owed me a piece of meat sauce, how did you use it? Old Huang thought for a while and said, cheap on you. Yun Feng looked at Ji Yu Lao embarrassedly. Ji Yu Lao, isn't it okay? But the meat cheese is very precious, so it's worth the meal. Ji Yu Lao, okay, you give me 1 trillion yuan. Yun Feng immediately lowered his head and said, eat the vegetables, the dishes are delicious. Yi Ming took a bite of the dish, and he succumbed to his mouth, almost swallowing his tongue. He has never eaten such a delicious dish in his whole life, and as soon as the dish is imported, he feels a few strange powers and begins to circulate in his body, which is really good for spiritual practice. Good food. He couldn't help praising. Everyone had no time to talk, and they were all stuffy. After a quarter of an hour, all the dishes were swept away, and Ji Yulao even licked for a long while holding a plate. Finally, the altar wine was also drunk. Wine is nothing special, presumably not good at making wine. Yi Ming touched his belly and was only half full. He grinned. I only know now that the dishes here are really expensive. I'm afraid I won't come back to eat them in the future. Yunfeng, haha, smiled. If you can eat it once, you will be satisfied. Out of Zhexianlu, Yi Ming suddenly turned his head and glanced at the guys, saying, This is Zhexianlu. Where does the name come from? Everyone froze. Yeah, no one has asked this question for so many years. Why is it called Zhexianlu? Just as Lao Huang is called Lao Huang, there must be a reason. The old man said indifferently. The words on the front cover were written by the emperor. As for why, the same cannot be said. The old man walked away without knowing where he went. Yi Ming was stunned, and said, Xiao Feng, who is the bone? Yunfeng laughed. When I came back, I was also curious about what it was. Unfortunately, after so many years, I still don't know anything. I only know that he is called Bone Lao, and it is the sacrificial ***** of the legendary school. Wei Baobao said. The strange thing about our synagogue school is more than that, you slowly know. Yi Ming suddenly felt that this legendary school was truly unfathomable, and it was indeed founded by the three emperors. He had a feeling that no matter how powerful the nebula teaching was, it could not be compared with the legendary school. Next, Yunfeng took Yi Ming to report. The process was very simple and was completed in half an hour. The legendary school has 9 gates, 3 factions and a courtyard. Yi Ming currently only participates in the 9 gates. For the time being, he cannot enter the immortal courtyard. He joined one of the 9 medicine gates, which was suggested by Yunfeng. After sending Yi Ming to Yaomen, Yunfeng left because he still had work to do. Fortunately, there is nothing to hinder. Yi Ming only needs to find a place to live and know his future colleagues. When Yunfeng left, he left a booklet with everything Yi Ming should know, including the past and present of the legendary academies, as well as internal conditions, the rules of the academy, and so on. Yi Ming kept it in mind. The legendary academy has 9 gates, 3 schools and 1 court. 9 gates are ordinary disciples, the 3 schools are elite disciples, and the first school is the elite among the elites. It is a group of geniuses who will enter the Supreme Academy in the future. First-time disciples can only join one of the 9 disciplines. Only after accumulating enough credit and demonstrating sufficient qualifications can they enter the 3 factions. By the same token, if the 3 factions want to enter the first house, they must also perform well enough. And all this takes time. In other words, Yi Ming didn't want to enter the undead house in a short time, and it would take 3 or 5 years to do so. Yaomen is located in the easternmost part of the legendary school, a mountainous area. From the air, you can see round cottages all over the mountains. There are few decent large buildings here, and outsiders thought they had come to the village tribe. However, Yi Ming knew that those who lived in thatched cottages were all disciples of legendary academies. After he came to Yaomen, the first person to see was the leader of Yaomen. Unfortunately, the person in charge was not present, so he could only find someone to ask, and then went to the residence first. On a mountainside, there are dozens of empty thatched cottages for new people. So he picked one casually and lived in first. Anyway, he didn't bring his family to work, he checked it in there, and people walked out, ready to look around and make friends with the brothers. The people on the medicine door are not kind and indifferent. They all have a faint expression on him. Everyone is immersed in the research of pharmacology and seems to have no energy to think about other things. What Yaomen learns is not just herbal medicine, but also minerals and various medicines. It can be said that the scope of medicine is almost everything in the world. Any kind of thing, even intangible things, can be regarded as a kind of medicine. I didn't see the head of the staff for a while and a half, so he found some basic books from other brothers and started to study in the cottage alone. With his wisdom, it is not difficult to understand this knowledge. However, before he finished reading a book, someone came to his door. New inside, a voice sounded, strange to him. He closed the book, walked out of the cottage, and saw 3 young men watching him. 3 questions for me, he asked, politely. From these 3 men, he felt hostile. The middle man held his arms and sneered, "Your kid is new. I ask you, do you recognize Sister Qinglian?" Qinglian. He frowned. "I know or don't know, has anything to do with you. Kid, be smart as a newcomer, you know." The man chirped. "Someone asked me to tell you that you can't go to Master Qinglian later, otherwise you must look good." Yiming said coldly, "If you don't say it, I'll forget it. Sorry, I'll go to Sister Qinglian soon. I really don't know what to do, then you just wait." The 3 stared at Yiming and turned away. Yiming is very strange. What did these 3 people mean? How did they know he knew Qinglian? Not long ago, a woman was about to go out in the undead house. She was very beautiful, with a pure temperament. It was the green lotus Yiming met in the cultivation land. Not long ago, I heard from my teacher Yunfeng's mouth that an deceased had just joined the legendary academy. She was very happy and was preparing to see Yiming. But as soon as she went out, she was stopped. He was very handsome in life, with white clothes and white folding fans, personable, and smiled. "Where is Shamay?" Qinglian. "A friend of mine joined the medicine gate, and I went to visit him." Youth. This is not the time to recruit people. Why would anyone join? Qinglian. My friend is a special case and was introduced by Brother Yunfeng. Yunfeng went to the nebula to teach him, even Qinglian didn't know. The young man laughed. It was originally introduced by Brother Yunfeng. How did Shamay meet him? Qinglian frowned slightly. He stared at the youth and said, "Brother, I know your Da Bi Yu Dao is amazing. Have you seen anything, or you won't keep asking?" Youth said, "It's nothing, it's just curiosity. I won't bother the sister and leave," he said and turned to leave. Qinglian's face was a bit unsightly. The young man's name was Zan Fu, who was good at divination and was extremely accurate. This person has always been indifferent to the same door, and suddenly he is so enthusiastic today, there must be a reason. She didn't think about it, and still went to Yiming. After Qinglian left, Zan Fu reappeared in situ, and he said lightly, "Flower 7. A shadow appeared, saying, "What does the master command?" "You send someone to stop the new guy from meeting Qinglian. If they meet, it will be very bad for me." Zan Fu Dao. Shadow. "Master, what if you can't stop it?" "Kill him." Zan Falong said coldly, "No matter who he is." Yes. The shadow disappeared. Yiming was going to find Qinglian, and suddenly heard footsteps from outside. A familiar voice sounded, "Yiming." He was glad, knowing who was coming, and quickly went out, and Guoli and Qinglian stood outside smiling. The 2 met each other in the cultivation treasure at the beginning, which was a bit of friendship. "Goodbye at this time, I don't want to be a classmate already." "Yiming, it's been a long time," Qinglian said with a smile. "You've grown a lot more than that year, but Valkyrie." Yiming just became a martial arts god, but it is far worse than sister. With that in mind, Qinglian was invited into the thatched cottage and brought out fruit and tea. The 2 chatted a few words. Qinglian asked how he entered the legendary school. Yiming told the truth. After hearing the latter, he was taken aback. "What? You actually beat Master Yunfeng?" Yiming Qi said. "My sister seems to be very surprised. Although I know Zhaofeng's strength is strong, don't you be so surprised." Qinglian looked very serious, saying, "It's not just an accident, but it's unexpected." "Yiming, do you know what Yunfeng means to the legendary school?" Only then did Yiming feel that there was something else in it, and he asked, "Why did you say that?" Qinglian exhaled and said, "Master, here you are, our legendary school is afraid to change the sky." Yiming felt incredible. How could he have such a big influence when he joined the legendary school himself? He asked. My sister said just now that Brother Yunfeng has great significance to the legendary school. How do you say this? Qing Lian. When practicing the treasure land, I told you that the existence of the trial road, besides being used to train strong human races, has another purpose, that is, to enter the land of creation and find the treasure of creation. Similarly, the students of the legendary school have a similar mission. Quote. Yi Ming. My sister said, Zhao Feng is the person who wants to enter the land of creation. And my presence will change the status quo. This is only one aspect. Qinglian said, behind the legendary school, there are three great forces, Yunfeng is one of them. And you have just entered the legendary school and do not belong to any. There is one, the rule is agreed, that is, who is the strongest disciple, who can order the other two forces. So the forces behind Yunfeng are currently in charge of the legendary school, and Yi Ming's presence will break this situation. Yi Ming. No, right. At most I also joined the forces behind Zhao Feng. No. Qinglian shook her head. You will be taken into one of the other two forces and come out to compete with Yunfeng for the first title. Yi Ming was silent. He and Yunfeng were brothers, and he didn't want his brother to look at him for this. Besides, he has no interest in what comes first. Qinglian continued. No matter what you think now, you have no ability to control the situation. In the future, you will be a pawn. What they ask you to do, you have to do. Yi Ming. Sister said, those two forces will find me soon. Not only. Qinglian sighed. The forces behind Yunfeng will also intervene. Their first step is to win you over. If they fail, they will get rid of you. Yi Ming narrowed his eyes. Isn't the goal of the legendary school to train human geniuses? Why would there be so many internal fights? There are rivers and lakes where there are people. Qinglian said, let alone the legendary school, even if you go to the Supreme Academy, there will be factional disputes. Sister has any suggestions? Yi Ming asked. Qinglian. I don't have a suggestion because I don't know what to do. Yi Ming suddenly remembered the uninvited guest and told him not to meet with Qinglian, so he said it. After listening, Qinglian said with a cold face, it must be the ghost that Zanfu has done. He is well versed in Da Bu, he must have seen something, so he wants to stop us from meeting. Who is that Zanfu? Which force does it belong to? Yi Ming asked. Zanfu and Yunfeng belong to the same department, and I belong to the other department. Therefore, I can conclude that the forces behind Yunfeng are going to attack you. However, this Zanfu should not know the meaning of your existence, it is pure see your influence on him. But I don't think it will be long before he receives a new order. Quote. Yi Ming suddenly sneered. The soldiers came to block, the water came to cover. There should be only one person between you and Yunfeng, and you must be mentally prepared. Qinglian said. Not necessarily. Yi Ming said lightly, I'd better leave this right and wrong place first. Leaving the legendary school means giving up the great future. You won't do this. Qinglian said, with your qualifications, you can almost enter the Supreme Academy with 100% chance. Do you want to give up this opportunity? Isn't there still a trial? Yi Ming said lightly, on the trial, I can still reach the end. Qinglian. The trial road is the hardest of the three major pathways. Although it can go directly to the academy, few people have succeeded since ancient times. Yi Ming stood up. Sister, tell Zhao Feng on my behalf, and say that I will meet him at the Supreme Academy. After speaking, the time and space boy shifted time and space, and his person disappeared. In the face of Yi Ming's departure, Qinglian's face showed a trace of regret. Behind her, a ghost appeared, asking, are you sorry for him? His qualifications are not under Yunfeng, which is really a pity. Qinglian lowered her head slightly. Master, why should you let him go? Zanfu saw a part of the future before, but that was just fur. If this son stayed in the legendary school, he would disturb the original clear trend. He is a variable, although we don't know if it is good or bad, so we don't want him to stay here for security. Quote. So, we will only give him a place in a legendary school, and we will never let him come over. Qing Lian asked, or will master remove him? Not for the time being, Ziying said. After all, he is a rare genius. I hope he can go further on the trial road. The next moment, Yi Ming has returned to the nebulae. Time and Space Boy suddenly said, "Are you too trusting in others?" "Do you mean Qinglian?" Yi Ming said lightly. "I didn't believe her at all." "If you don't believe it, why do you want to leave the legendary school? It was founded by the 3 emperors. Stay there and you will gain a lot." Yi Ming. A lot of Qinglian's words should be true. If I stay forcibly, I will put myself in danger. And I really want to continue on the trial road to see if I can reach the end. Time and Space Boy. I don't think you want to compete directly with Yunfeng. There is that kind of consideration. Yi Ming did not deny. Since I became a brother, I can't make him a big brother. Now return to Nebula. What are your plans? Cultivation, Yi Ming said. Stepping into the martial arts, I should retreat for a while. Yi Ming hadn't figured out where to retreat, and someone came to the door. It was the daughter of the Nebula goddess, Nangong Weiwei. Nangong Weiwei's face was stubborn. She opened the door to the courtyard where Yi Ming lived, and said, Sister wants to ask you for help. Yi Ming was also not angry. Sister, please tell me. Nangong Weiwei. I came to find you before, where are you? Yi Mingxin said you are not here to help. Asking so much, he said, I went out and just came back. I asked, there was a girl named Su Lan next to you, didn't you? She asked suddenly. Yi Ming frowned slightly. Yes. Is the person who killed Su Lan a person named Zhang Taishang? She asked again. Yi Ming. It's Mrs. Zhang. Why did sister mention this suddenly? Nangong Weiwei. I asked you to help me, because it is related to Mrs. Zhang. Mrs. Yang's mother is an alien, and she is extremely high. I got the news that Mrs. Zhang will join our Nebulae religion today. I want you to stop him. Quote. Yi Ming. Mrs. Zhang is a character in Changshungjing, and I can't stop him. Of course you can, Nangong Weiwei said. Zhang Tai came up with only a split body. The realm is not much higher than you. Yi Ming. Why did sister stop Zhang too? Because this man is very ambitious, he represents the interests of aliens. If he is mixed into the Nebula Gate, we will have a hard time doing it. Wei Nangong said, of course this is the meaning of the leader. I defeated Yunfeng last time, and I don't know if there is any credit for it. Yi Ming incidentally said, I don't know if I have completed this, is there a reward? Nangong Weiwei snorted. Of course there is credit. How can I give you 1 billion credit for this? Yi Ming said, okay, thank you, sister. When do you start? Mr. Yang's mother will send someone in person tomorrow, said Nangong Weiwei. At that time, you will come out as a disciple of the Nebula assessment. As long as you defeat him, he cannot join the Nebula. Yi Ming. This is easy. Okay, get ready, Nangong Weiwei said, and people left. After her people left, Yi Ming's brows froze, and she always felt that the matter was not superficially simple. But since he promised, then Zhang Tai would be defeated, and this is what he wants to do. But what is the purpose of Nangong Weiwei? In Nebula, Vivian Nangong met the Nebula leader and smiled. Daddy, the boy promised to take a shot. The Nebula leader smiled, hee, and said, very well, let's see the results. Nangong Weiwei asked puzzledly, Daddy, you said you would have to test Yi Ming 3 times. Isn't that considered? Although Zhang Taishang's qualifications are good, he can't compare with him. Such a test may be too simple. Quote. The Nebula leader waved his hand, and said lightly, Weiwei, you are still young. This Yi Ming suddenly appeared in front of his father, defeated Yunfeng, and logically became my disciple. This seems very natural on the surface, but looking deeper, you can smell the conspiracy again. Quote. Nangong Weiwei was startled. Is Yi Ming undercover sent by the enemy? No. Nebula shook his head. Even if it was a conspiracy, he was just a chess piece at the mercy of others. Nangong Weiwei had a feeling of terrifying thought. Her face paled slightly, and said, Dad, if that's the case, then the people who designed all this are really terrible. What is their purpose? It's hard to say. The Nebula leader laughed. But I haven't encountered any conspiracy and deceit for my father's life. There is a way to deal with it. They send Yi Ming next to him, and there is a way for him to change it. Be your own. Quote. So the purpose of this test is to turn him into his own, said Nangong Weiwei. The Nebula nodded his head. Yes. Yi Ming's details are already clear for his father. He has a deep blood enmity with Mrs. Zhang. Through Mrs. Zhang, one can understand him better and one can buy his heart. Nangong Weiwei was taken aback. Daddy wants. Master Nebula waved his hand. You'll know by then. If Yi Ming passed the 3 tests, would Dad really take him as an apprentice? Asked Nangong Weiwei. The Nebula leader looked at his daughter with a smile, and asked, Weiwei, are you interested in this kid? Nangong Weiwei swaggered. No. This kind of stupid boy, I have no interest in seeing him. The Nebula leader said lightly, That's good. You are going to marry into the Protoss in the future. You must not have other ideas, you know. After a while, Nangong Weiwei's heart sank, but she didn't dare to say anything, but she lowered her head and said quietly. In any case, Yi Ming is about to face the enemy Zhang Taishang, so he must be prepared. Even if Mrs. Zhang is not the deity, he will kill the other party. However, time is limited, it is less than 3 days, and there is not much to prepare. In the inn where Yi Ming lived, he began to regain the great potential of the world. The great potential of this heaven and earth was created by human ancestors, totaling 36. Prior to this, he has cultivated to the 9th level, and it is difficult to make progress downwards, because his potential has been squeezed out. According to the introduction of the potential of Tiandi, if nothing else happens, he will only stay at the 9th level in his life. Without it, everyone's potential is limited and the potential that can be increased is also limited. The great potential of the heavens and the earth is to fully develop the potential of everyone, and the rest is to spend time and slowly increase the potential of one person. Take Yi Ming as an example. Before that, he developed his potential to the limit, and then he continued to cultivate the great potential of the heavens and the earth and slowly grew. It may take 180 years for him to have the opportunity to enter the 10th position. Then, after another 200 or 300 years, we may reach the 11th stage. Because of this prejudgment, after the 9th stage, he never practiced the great potential of the world. Now I just want to meditate for a few days to prepare for the fight against Mrs. Zhang. Cultivate the great potential of the world, just whim, try it, but he just practiced and what shocked him happened. I just feel that the great potential of heaven and earth in the body is whistling in the 9th state of the great potential of heaven and earth, just like the mountain tsunami, breaking through the top floor and entering the 10th stage smoothly. Suddenly, the great potential of heaven and earth in his body was more than doubled. When this power ran for a week, his potential increased by 1 point and became stronger and stronger. I see. He opened his eyes suddenly. On the journey to the underworld, I absorbed the spiritual source, and my qualifications and potential were greatly enhanced. Now I am just like when I first cultivated the great potential of heaven and earth. The potential has not been squeezed. So the cultivation process is very smooth and easy. Quote. Knowing this, Yi Ming was very happy, and didn't want anything else, and cultivated the great potential of this world with one heart. He wanted to know how much he had gained from his trip to the underworld and how much potential he had improved. The great potential of heaven and earth continues to grow. Within an hour, it has tripled again. As a matter of course, the barriers have been broken to enter the 11th stage. After that, in less than 2 hours, Yi Ming rushes to the 12th stage. By the 3rd day, he had reached the 18th weight of the great potential of heaven and earth. The 18th great potential of heaven and earth, he feels that his potential has been greatly improved, far exceeding his original. At this time by Mingdao, the current qualifications of the master should be infinitely close to the supreme body, reaching the so-called pseudo-extreme body, or even the supreme body. Time and space boy. It should not be. Once the supreme body is formed, there must be a vision. Yi Ming. The body of the pseudo-supreme is also very amazing. Moreover, my potential in the world can be broken and become a real supreme body. That is something sooner or later. Time and space boy. In most cases, the supreme body is in the womb. Those people are born with visions and have amazing talents. People who can become supreme bodies the day after tomorrow don't seem to have appeared. Your experience is strange. The spiritual sources absorbed by the underworld can fundamentally improve your qualifications. In other words, your current qualifications are no different from the geniuses in the wombs. Quote. Next, he did not practice anymore, because the time to meet Mrs. Zhang finally arrived, and a disciple of Nebula Tot was already waiting outside the door. When he stepped out of the door, he saw a 5-star disciple. He said politely, "Master, the Lord ordered me to pass you on." Yi Ming nodded. "Brother, has Zhang arrived?" "Mrs. Zhang is on the Nebula house," the 5-star disciple said, then took out a dark dagger from his arms and handed it to Yi Ming. Yi Ming took the dagger, only to find it strange and weird, which seemed to contain the power of curse. The 5-star disciple said, "Teach the Lord to fight with this dagger." "Why?" Yi Ming asked. "What's so special about this dagger?" Disciple of 5 stars. "I don't know either, I can't answer, Master." Yi Ming didn't ask again. The dagger looked powerful and useful, and it was about the Nebula leader who worried about him, so he sent someone to send such a weapon. When he arrived at the Nebula house, he saw that the hall was full of people. In addition to the Nebula Master and his followers, there were a group of guests. One of these people is Zhang Taishang. Seeing the enemy, Yi Ming had no expression on his face. He met the Nebula leader and stood aside. On the contrary, Zhang Tai's eyes fell on Yi Ming, and he yelled, "Yi Ming!" Yi Ming looked up and said coldly, "Ginger is too high." Next to Zhang Taishang, there was a Gongdo woman with a beautiful appearance and a high school temperament. At the sight of this woman, the time-space boy said, "This woman is just a skin, and her body is occupied." Yi Ming stunned. "Oh. Is it a win? It's not a sacrifice, it's a parasite." Time and Space Boy said, "If I didn't expect it to be bad, the creature in this woman should be one of the hundreds of spirits." When the spirits were born, they were invisible and immaterial. Group travel. The soul that walks, but has the ability to seize the body of others, and eventually devour the soul of others. Most members of the spirit family, the host who is constantly far away throughout their lives, each time they are replaced, they can become stronger. And as far as I know, Lingji people like to live in humans. Quote. The woman glanced at Yi Ming with a scornful look and said, "My son, isn't this guy who was going to kill you last time?" Mrs. Zhang. "Yes, mother, that kid." The woman looked at the leader of the Nebula. "Brother Nangong, I want to kill this person, don't you object?" The Nebula Master's face sank. "He is my Nebula disciple. Whoever dares to kill him is the enemy of my Nebula." The woman snorted coldly. "That's all it takes. But Brother Nangong, I and your sister Nangong Fayan are good friends. My son worships your Nebula, can you agree?" The Nebula leader laughed. "The Nebula religion is not my own, and there are teaching rules. Mrs. Zhang must be tested if she wants to join this religion. My child's qualifications are very good. It must be okay to pass your test. I just don't want him to waste too much time." The woman said lightly, "Couldn't Nangong be convenient?" The Nebula leader laughed. "Of course, I will make the test a little easier. What do you think?" "Oh, I wonder what Nangong's so-called test is," the woman asked. "Nebula. It's very simple. Yi Ming is a 2-star disciple in my teaching. As long as Zhang Taishang can kill him, he can directly join my Nebula and become a 5-star disciple." When the woman seemed to be satisfied, she asked Zhang Taishang, "My son, what do you think?" Zhang Tai looked up at Exeduo. Although he came as a man, he also had the practice of Fahiu 9, which was much higher than Yi Ming's realm. Although Yi Ming is a martial arts god, the realm is equivalent to the realm of law, far less than him. It was precisely this that made Tai Tai Sheng confident and said, "Mother, this boy is my enemy, and I just took the opportunity to get rid of him." Nebula leader. Yi Ming, how about you? Are you willing? Yi Ming said. You public and private disciples are willing to play this game. Very good. You are here to fight, without any means, to kill each other. After the Lord Nebula finished, a spherical light curtain wrapped Yi Ming and Tai Tai in it. This light curtain seems to be a powerful artifact, and it is difficult for outsiders to break through. In the light curtain, Zhang Tai smiled overcast and he stared at Yi Ming. Last time you won my deity, it became my heart barrier. Meet today, you will die anyway. Yi Ming sneered. Your original deity was only Wu Zunshou, the second was a prince, the third was cultivating outside and stepped into the longevity. As I expected, the one you appear now should be a prince. Is it right? In his view, Mrs. Zhang would not let the deity go out to take risks, and this body should be in the heavens and heavens of Fatian and should be a prince. That's right. Zhang Taisheng did not deny. My deity is impacting the longevity, you have some eyesight. Yi Ming. Although it is not the deity, if I kill you, you will certainly lose a lot. Zhang Tai sighed coldly. Don't make a fuss, if you and I are one or two small realms, I really don't want to jealous of you. However, between you and me, there are 9 small realms, do you still have confidence in challenging me? In my opinion, there is no difference between Law 1 and Law 9. Yi Ming said lightly. Don't say that you are Law 9, even if it is a long life, I can still kill it. Yi Ming's remarks are by no means bragging. The Zhang in front of him is too decent. He only has the power of the divine body, not even the Taoism. He can't compare with him at all. Even if he had a powerful mother, he quickly practiced in the French 9 realms, but he was not regarded by him. Mrs. Zhang laughed aloud. Crazy. Then I will let you see, what is the gap? Then he added a treasure gun in his hand, shook the gun body, and the tip of the sky gun stabbed at Yi Ming. On the left and right sides of Zhang Taisheng's mother, there is a woman sitting on the left and right. Yi Ming on the left knows that it is Su Lan's ethnic sister, Yuling Dai. This Yuling Dai is a beautiful body, and Su Lan is also a clean body. Su Lan and his prince Zhang Tai had a marriage contract, while Yuling Dai and Wade Hu often made a free marriage contract. Later, Yuling Dai's parents and elders secretly killed Su Lan in order to allow her to marry a prince. The woman on the right, Yi Ming looked familiar with it, and after a closer look, she found that her eyebrows and eyes were similar to those of Han Juyin. In fact, she is Han Lianyan's daughter, Han Shan's sister, Han Lihua. The second daughter watched Zhang Tai make the shot. Her eyes were all bright, and Yuling Dai laughed. Good marksmanship. Han Lihua said. The sandwashing electric gun is so much more exquisite. Facing the point of the sky gun, Yi Ming didn't even send out his weapon, only to point his fingers to the air. As soon as he pointed it out, he saw through the falsehood, hitting the opponent's gunpoint with a ding sound. At the moment of contact, Zhang Taisheng felt a shockingly strong conduction, and the gun in his hand buzzed uncontrollably and oscillated like a living snake. He had to fly away. Zhang Tai was taken aback, slammed his magic, and shouted, "Give me!" With both hands full control of the gun, it was useless. The power of that gun burst was too horrible. His mouth cracked, and the gun buzzed and buzzed. Yuling Dai and Han Lihua stood up at the same time and shouted, "Be careful!" Zhang Tai's face turned pale, and he suddenly realized that he had made a wrong judgment. The person in front of him was too strong, beyond his imagination. At least in terms of strength, he has lost. What is more frightening is that he finds that Yi Ming has not done his best. How many reservations does he have? Yi Ming did not chase. Across the light curtain, he exclaimed, "Yuling Dai, when you and your family murdered Yuling Zhao, the purpose was to marry Zhang Taisheng." Yuling Dai's neck was slightly lifted, Shomei lightly laughed, and said, "Who is the normal woman in the world, who doesn't want to marry too much? Is she going to marry a waste you can't even protect yourself?" Yi Ming was not angry, saying, "You are wrong. One day, I will rescue Su Lan. On the contrary, the man who will protect you in front of you cannot protect himself." Yu Dai sneered. "What comes up is just a part. What is it, even if it is not against you?" Han Lihua suddenly said. "Yi Ming, you can stop. The enemy should be solved or not. The relationship between you and Taisheng is nothing more than a woman's problem. Sulan's humble background is not worthy of you. This looks like this. Well, I'm willing to be a matchmaker and find 3 more beautiful women for you. What do you think?" Quote. Yi Ming's face sank, and he said, "You must be the woman Zhang Taisheng. I'm Han Lihua. If you are from the Tianyuan continent, you should hear too much about me." Han Lihua proudly said. Yi Ming nodded. It turned out to be Han Juin's daughter. No wonder he was so self-righteous. "I also have a suggestion. I will kill Zhang Tai now and give you 10 beautiful men. Now are you willing?" Han Lihua angered. "Yi Ming, are you insulting me?" "You insulted me first," Yi Ming said coldly. "The people who insult me have to pay the price. Brush." Yi Ming punched out suddenly, and it was the magical skill that he exhibited. Although Zhang Taisheng is a genius of alien blood, why have you seen this kind of magic skill? He didn't see Yi Ming's punches at all, and he was punched heavily in the back, squirting blood. "Damn, what a magic power!" he yelled, angrily. "Yi Ming, Mrs. Zhang, I'm disappointed in you. You haven't made any progress in these years, and you are still such a waste. Did you come from Tianyuan? Can't you recognize this as a magic skill? Divine skill." Zhang Taisheng suddenly opened his mouth, and a green light flashed. The green light was like a living thing, and the target was Yi Ming's nostril. Regardless of Yi Ming's disregard, the 5 elements turned upside down. Squeak. With a scream, Qing Guang turned into green smoke. Zhang Tai snorted and almost fell. It turned out that Zhang Tai released a strand of his soul. Once he got into his nostril, he would forcibly occupy Yi Ming's body. It really is the dog of the evil tribe. I have no mood to play with you. Yi Ming was a 5-character mark, and Zhang Tai had no resistance, screamed, and was weighed down by the force of terror. "Gongdu woman, the mother Zhang Taisheng couldn't sit still. She said, 'Stop.'" Yi Ming didn't seem to hear it. He took the black dagger out of his arms and cut it around his neck. After the dagger killed, it suddenly returned to silver white, and the power of the dark curse was all transferred to Zhang Taisheng. "There is something wrong with this dagger." The Gongdo woman was startled and yelled, "Boy, what vicious method did you use?" On the other hand, Mrs. Zhang, after the head was cut off, the eyes on that head could still turn and said, "Yi Ming, you are so vicious that you really want to kill my deity. Mother, you must avenge me." It was only that his voice was getting lower and lower, and finally he suddenly banged and burned. The dark and strange flames soon swallowed him up, leaving no residue. At the same time, Zhang Taisheng's deity and another body burned together, swallowed up by the black strange flames, and died on the spot. The woman in the palace costume felt the death of her son, and she screamed sternly, "Boy, I'm going to kill you with 1,000 swords, and you will be broken." Yu Dai was fainted, and Han Lihua was pale and sat down weakly. For these 3 women, Yi Ming was not interested in taking a closer look. He arched towards the Nebula leader. The disciples did not humiliate the mission and have already killed Zhang Tai. As soon as the black flames burned, he understood the intention of the Nebula leader. It was for him to kill Zhang Taisheng in front of everyone. In this way, he would offend Han Lihua and alien powers. If he did not rely on the Nebula religion, he would be very dangerous in the future. What's more, with this Han Lihua who hated him so much, Han Juin was afraid that he would not have a good attitude towards him, and it will be difficult for him to return to Wushan Valley in the future. Nebula's master took this move with accuracy and fierceness, leaving no room for it. The Nebula leader nodded, and said to the Gongdu women, "Sorry, your son didn't pass the simplest test. The woman snapped. Your nebula is already my enemy of aliens. Ignorance. The nebula sneered. Do you want to rebel against the supreme god? The woman was taken aback, and then she was sober. She hummed heavily and turned away without a word. Han Lihua followed immediately and left, before staring at Yi Ming severely. Yu Lingdai seemed to have lost her strength and sat in place, just crying. Yi Ming was too lazy to deal with her and killed Zhang Taishang. He felt much calmer and felt that he had finally avenged Su Lan. But thinking of Su Lan still suffering endlessly over there, the heart is also extremely painful. Yi Ming, you are doing very well, let it go. The Nebula leader praised. Yi Ming worshipped and turned to leave. As soon as she left the hall, Wei Wei Nangong said, you offended a terrible person. Come with me. Yi Ming. Where to go? I found a house for you in Xingyan Mansion. You live temporarily and wait until the wind passes. Nangong Wei Wei said, the people in the Han family and the Lingji tribe will try to kill you. No, I can leave for a while, Yi Ming said. Nangong Wei Wei thought about it. Okay. You are still a 2-star disciple. You can get more tasks out and earn some credit by the way. Yi Ming nodded. I did that too. It is a fake to escape, and the real reason for Yi Ming is that he doesn't want to live in Xingyan Mansion. In fact, he was not very afraid of the assassination of aliens, and he was not afraid of Han Lihua. After all, she was not Han Juyin. So, he took a lot of tasks first, and then left the Nebula continent by time and space to return to the Three Emperors world. The coming of the Three Emperors world has nothing to do with the Emperor's side. He is going to go back to the temple for a period of time, and inquire about the situation of the Three Emperors by the way. After all, his other identity is Crown Prince. Originally, the identity of this immortal temple was the most dangerous, but now it seems that this so-called dangerous identity is nothing, at least it is temporarily safer than other identities. He soon saw the deity, and without saying much, went directly to the temple to practice. Before the great potential of heaven and earth, the cultivation reached the 18th level. Now he wants to continue to cultivate, and that kind of difficult feeling has appeared again. He knows that it is not appropriate to practice irregularly. You must wait for a while before the body absorbs more spirits before you can continue to cultivate the great potential of this world. At this time, he took out the jade Jane left by the ancestor. At that time, the brother of the temple, that is, the true heir to the temple, had been enlightenment on this jade bamboo slip, and then had nothing to gain. He had never read the lesson from the past, it was a difficult matter after all, and he was not confident. Now that he feels that he is also a ***** king, he can take it out. His power infiltrated into the jade bamboo slips, just to see that there were subtle restraints beyond the jade bamboo slips. That prohibition is a complex password prohibition. If you don't know the password, you can't crack it. It's no wonder brother couldn't comprehend that the jade Jane could not be opened at all. He shook his head and was about to give up, but suddenly there was a groove in Yujian. As soon as his heart moved, he bit his finger and dripped a drop of blood on it. At that time, he absorbed the blood of Emperor Xingtian, who was sent by his ancestors. This jade Jane was left by his ancestors, and it is unreasonable for him to leave a ban that cannot be cracked. So at the sight of the groove, he decided to give it a try. As soon as the blood fell in the groove, the inexplicable power in Yujian was activated and he began to lift the ban on his own. The prohibition was opened, and a vast memory flowed into his sea of knowledge, but most of them were lurking and unable to explore. These memories have become more complete and systematic with the ancestral heritage he got back then. It turned out to be the ancestral memory of the ancestors. Yi Ming nodded. It seems that my strength is not enough now, so I can only see a small part. At the beginning, he learned that aurora, acroscopy, and tiantianquan are all things inherited from human ancestors. Now that I have more memories, a lot of things suddenly appear in my mind, but they are no longer related to martial arts, magical powers, and magic. They are more about the path of spiritual practice. In the past, Renzuka has cultivated countless civilizations and defeated countless forces from ancient times to modern times. Naturally, his cultivation experience is extremely rich and precious, and even a trace of it will be of great help to Yi Ming. The chaos arithmetic is fully operating, and the 9-element arithmetic array is fully cooperating, calculating every piece of words and every trace of memory left by the ancestors. The more he calculated, the more he felt that the ancestors of the people were unfathomable and unattainable. All previous martial art experiences were shattered by him. It should be thrown, left, and combined with the experience of the ancestors, he immediately realized that the heavy road of martial arts became clear at a glance. Although he has stepped into the realm of martial arts, before that, Yi Ming was obscured. He must either follow the steps of others, such as Emperor Shang, or Han Juyin, or even others. Or, he would go out of his own way, a path suitable for his own practice and for the martial arts of the whole world. It's just that this road is too difficult. Even if he can do it, it will take a long time to explore. The time span may be decades, even hundreds of years. It can never be completed overnight. However, the practice experience left by the ancestors has a great inspiration for him. What made him even more surprised was that the ancestors seemed to have had a lot of thoughts on martial arts at the beginning, and these contents were extremely important to him. He looked back now and thought that Wu Shen's previous practice was perfect. Warriors, 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 great warriors, 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 have a solid foundation, step by step. Even if he had the practice experience of the ancestors, and he had the chaos classics, he didn't think there were any changes in these places. After all, this is the countless warriors in the Tianyuan continent, which have been honed over millions of years. This can't be done by one person. The only regret is that the division of these big and small realms does not seem to be self-confident, and the traces of artificial forcing are too obvious. For example, warriors and warriors are basic exercises. For example, warriors and big warriors are not much different from the original. The latter Wuzong and Wuzun can also be combined into one place. Fortunately, these are superficial things, and changing or not changing has little effect. The most important thing right now is to carve out the Valkyrie. However, all this is just an idea, and Valkyrie's emphasis in his heart is only an approximation. It depends on him step by step. Next, he spent another month and continuously deduced the calculations with the chaos algorithm in order to make it more perfect, and also made the realms in those minds clearer. Yi Ming's martial arts is very important, and his name is martial arts. The fundamental meaning lies in the imitation and fusion of martial arts to the laws of heaven and earth. The martial arts can be divided into 6 realms, namely mastering the law and refining the gods, such as law, killing gods, unable, and mysterious gates. The core of the 6 realms is teaching, such as law, and inability. At the beginning of the form of the god, the martial arts masters all things, enhance their strength, and strengthen their own bodies. In the midterm, they have been able to follow the heavens and the earth, be supernatural, speak freely, and order all spirits. However, in the later period, you will find yourself inadequate, so you study the civilizations of the heavens and make your martial arts present the characteristics of major civilizations. However, at the end, I found that Wu Shui could not be relied on at all, and I could only do it alone, be brave and enterprising, and go all out to break through the mysterious gate that lay before me. That mysterious gate is the barrier of martial arts, also called the mysterious gate. From time to time, there are very few people who can really open this door. Those are Han Juyin and Emperor Shang. However, there are few such people, and the martial arts barriers in their eyes may not be the same as those of Yi Ming. Yi Ming even suspected that Emperor Shang's martial arts might overlap with his martial arts. In other words, the Emperor Shang and Han Juyin may be in the stage of impossibility of martial arts that he founded, and the Xuanmen stage did not break through the barriers of martial arts. Once he reached the first level of Xuanmen, he was only one step away from the martial arts duo he founded. Entering the martial arts double, the doubts and confusions in the martial arts heart disappeared. But this second priority, Yi Ming can't deduce yet, but can only wait for future opportunities. At that time, his qualifications were high enough to be a true supreme body. The chaos calculations were also strong enough to reach the fourth or even fifth order. The martial art experience was equally rich, and he has experienced more civilized observations, etc. Having figured everything out, Yi Ming naturally entered the first realm, the realm of mastery. The teaching method, as the name implies, is the law, rules, and characteristics of everything in the world, and applies it to your martial arts. For example, magic skills, artifacts, etc., are the products of mastery. The ultimate goal of this situation is to gather the martial arts law. As early as the training phase, the martial arts began to consolidate the power matrix, and use it to enhance its power. After the Jinli array, it can be upgraded to a martial arts furnace, followed by Wuhun, Yuanying, and divine form. This martial arts formation is a set of martial arts formed inside the ***** form, which is used exclusively for battle. In Yi Ming's vision, the significance of martial arts circle is very important. It is in the form of gods. With the improvement and strength of the law group, it will eventually change the state of the gods and make it more suitable for their martial arts. In other words, what kind of divine skill can be used? The ***** form can have a state that matches it. For example, Yi Ming performs sword art, the martial arts circle will be transformed into a sword array, and the shape of the ***** shape will be changed. For example, the arms become longer, more flexible, the strength of the arms is greater, etc. All this is to make the warrior more suitable for using swords. Another example is Yi Ming's Biantianquan. Then the martial arts circle will be transformed into the Biantiansha array, and the ***** shape will converge the power on the two fists. At the same time, when the ***** form is in the flesh, the martial arts matrix inside it can also change the state of the flesh and make it have many changes. However, the physical changes cannot be as unpredictable as the shape of the gods. However, Yi Ming practiced the 72 changes in Tianmao, and his physical flexibility was almost not in the shape of a god. In Yi Ming's mind, the martial arts matrix is unpredictable and moves at will, but its basis is similar to the chaos and 9-element arithmetic. He divided the martial arts circle into 98 grades, the highest being first grade, followed by first grade, second grade, and so on, second grade, first grade, second grade, and the lowest grade being 9 grade and Nina grade. This martial arts circle will continue to strengthen with the improvement of cultivation, and it will accompany the warrior's life. At this point, Yi Ming's chaos arithmetic and Zhuan arithmetic array have been merged into one. His chaos arithmetic has reached third order, and Tai arithmetic array is Zhuan. With them as a basis, his starting point is very high, and it has already been a fourth grade first-class product from the beginning. In his reckoning, the chaos chanting of the fourth order can reach the second and ninth grade. The chaos calculation of the fifth order can reach the first and ninth grade. Yi Ming has actually gone far enough to master the realm of magic. He possesses the 5-element sword seal, an artifact of 5 elements, the heavenly seal of 5 elements, the stealing of the heavenly fist, and the blood-splitting god. He can directly enter the next stage. God. The so-called refining gods can be refining soldiers, artifacts, puppets, runes, and so on. There can only be one, and once it appears, it will accompany it for life and ascend with the ascension of the Valkyrie. Regardless of its form, it will definitely carry the most powerful force of Valkyrie. At a critical moment, terrible combat power will burst out. Valkyrie's nirvana, stunt, and magic can all be sealed, and more than one can be sealed. When fighting, it contains the martial arts will and killing means of the Valkyrie. It can be said that as strong as this ***** is, as strong as the Valkyrie. It is the killer and final guarantee of Valkyrie. If Valkyrie uses it, it must be fight by fate. Because once this ***** is destroyed, the Valkyrie is over. In Yi Ming's vision, the **** in this realm is actually the second elemental **** of Valkyrie, but it is different from ordinary elementary gods. It is born for battle and has the means of the law of heaven and God. It can also be absorbed in the middle and late stages. The power of the faith of the heavens becomes a sacrifice to God. This characteristic was created by absorbing the characteristics of Shinto. Yi can be said to be ingenious, not even in the memory of the ancestors. For this second elementary god, Yi Ming calls it the Wuji sacrifice god. The title of sacrificial deity here has two meanings. First, it is the sacrificial deity of Wushan, which can protect the life of Wushan. At the same time, it can also become the sacrificial deity of other beings, and protect the safety of one party. The reason for this idea is inseparable from his insight on the way to becoming a god, and thanks to the help of a small death. Little Death told many profound Shinto insights. That is not something that most people can know. Even Emperor Shang and Han Juyin could not have similar feelings. However, Yi Ming was not ready to enter the stage of Wuji's sacrifice. He decided to stay in the division for a while, and create more magical skills, and even nirvana. He divided the martial arts magic skills into three categories: ordinary skills, stunt skills, and nirvana. The 5 elements that he founded, such as turning the heavenly seals, stealing heavenly fists, and the blood-splitting fingers of the earth, belong to ordinary magic skills, and others can learn them. The latter stunt is different. It is unique to each martial arts god. Others cannot learn even if they learn. This is called stunt. For example, Yi Ming knows chaos, but others do'nt. If he creates a chaos sword skill that breaks through all kinds of swords, this is a stunt. Because others do not chaos scripture, naturally they cannot learn such magic skills. Most of the power of stunts is very powerful. After all, the more rare the thing, the stronger it is. Nirvana is the most powerful magic skill. A martial arts **** may have only a few kinds of nirvana in his life. Nirvana must be the fatal blow that Valkyrie is in his best state, combining all the combat power. Even if the overall strength of the enemy is comparable to this nirvana will be able to kill it with a single blow. Ordinary skills may be stunts, and the two may overlap. But nirvana must be nirvana. Ordinary skills and stunts will never become nirvana. Nirvana is the most powerful, brightest, and most lethal magical skill of Valkyrie. Like the Wuji sacrifice god, once it is fired, the warrior who shoots will either win or lose, or even suffer casualties. Yi Ming didn't think of practicing nirvana at this moment. He could satisfy one skill. When it comes to stunts, he thinks about it. It seems that only the 5 elements sword code is more reliable. After all, it is unique to the Tianyuan continent, and no one can make it for hundreds of thousands of years, even if it can be made. Even him, he has not been able to reconstitute the acquired 6 at present, and even the 5-element killing technique that he has refined is only the initial stage, and the power is very limited. For the real 5-element killing technique, he had to practice all the 5 major 5-element swordsmanship to the realm of the 6-day sword god, and then combine them into one to form the true 5-element killing technique. These 5 elements of killing life ranked 6th in Tianyuan's supernatural power rankings, and its power can be imagined. At present, the 5-element killing technique he masters is only a method inferred by using chaos arithmetic and 9 elementary arithmetic. It is more imitation than real killing. Due to limitations in the realm, he has not practiced the 5 elements sword code for a long time. After all, the innate condition of the sword **** realm is that he must cultivate himself to reach the level of martial arts. Now, he is already a Valkyrie, and finally he can practice all 5 swordsmanship to the 6th level. The 5 major sword techniques are Xuantian White Emperor Sword, Yutian Black Emperor Sword, Yangtian Red Emperor Sword, Juntian Yellow Emperor Sword, and Kang Tianqing Emperor Sword. For these 5 sets of swordsmanship, he only practiced to the 3rd level, the soul level of the sword. The 5 sets of swordsmanship are all 9-fold, divided into acquired 6-fold and congenital triplet. The day after tomorrow is 6 swords, namely Sword Intention, Sword Heart, Sword Soul, Sword Spirit, Sword World, Sword God. He just cultivated to Sword Soul. The congenital triplet can be practiced only after the 5 swordsmanships are combined. Yi Ming felt that this innate triplet had an inexplicable fit with Wushan triplet. As soon as he founded the Valkyrie, he borrowed a lot of innate threefold things. It is already a martial arts god, and his qualifications are close to the supreme body. Yi Ming cultivated the 5 major sword techniques to the highest stage within a few days, that is, the 6th sword ****** the day after tomorrow. However, when practicing the 6th épée, there were some obstacles, because Yi Ming wanted to sacrifice 5 sword pills. These 5 sword pills are to be made with 5 kinds of 5-element innate gold. Innate green ling gold, innate red ling gold, innate black ling gold, innate yellow ling gold, and innate white ling gold. These 5 kinds of gold are rare and precious. He had no choice but to temporarily stop practicing, secretly contacting the undead body, Shang Long. Shang Long has been retreating for a while, and the emperor asked him not to go out. Suddenly, his heart moved and he immediately came to the emperor's study. The emperor was reviewing the playing chapter. When he saw him come in, he put down his pen and asked, "Longer, what is it?" Shang Long: "Father, I need the innate gold of the 5 elements." The emperor frowned slightly. The innate gold of the 5 elements, the heavens are hard to find, and the treasure house of the 3 emperors can't be found. He thought about it, and suddenly remembered something. "Remember, for my father, there was a piece of congenital white gold in the hands of Yeo that day, and I sent someone to inquire at the 3 emperors' auction." The next day, Yi Ming was in a secret place and got 2 innate spiritual gold, innate white spirit and innate black spirit. According to Shang Long's knowledge, just these 2 things cost the emperor's 3.6 trillion yuan longevity coins, which is not even the emperor's face. If other people are afraid that they can't buy it, even if they can buy it, it will be 2 or 3 times as expensive. Yi Ming then contacted Dianzun again. Dianzun didn't know what channel to use. After 3 days, he found the innate Huang Lingjun and the innate red Lingjun and sent them to him. In the end, there was only one kind of innate blue gold, but he couldn't find it, and half a month before he knew it. Impatiently waiting, he let the time and space boy take him to the civilization of war and call on Gan Zhume. As soon as he set foot in the inn, Gan Zhume appeared. She looked very happy and said, "Brother Yi, you can count it, I have shot all of your 88 sword world quotas and almost sold them for 10,000 billion Changsheng coins." Yi Ming nodded. "It's hard. I came to ask if you could help me buy innate green gold." Gan Zhume said, "Brother Yi, wait a moment, I will ask." She urged several messengers in succession, and within half a quarter of a minute, someone heard the news. Gan Zhume's brows frowned, and she said, "Brother, things are a bit difficult to handle. Innate Qingling gold is in the hands of Feng Zontu of the Feng family." Yi Ming: "Who is Feng Zontu? Are you hated?" Gan Zhume smiled bitterly. "It is not enmity. Although I have beaten him, he will not be resentful. However, my father wants me to marry the Feng family in the future, and he will marry a scum like Feng Zontu. People, wild nature, special bad family girl, fame. If I go to ask for congenital gold, he will definitely try." Yi Ming: "As long as you know who owns it, there is no need for you to come forward, I will go." Gan Zhume: "The elder brother must be careful. This Feng Zontu is so greedy that he will definitely open his mouth." Yi Ming: "9 sisters know, where did the innate green spirit of this phoenix show come from? It is said that the innate gold was bought by him a few years ago and cost 2 trillion yuan of longevity coins. However, I haven't heard what he bought. It should be investment to maintain value." Yi Ming: "It's easy to do." At the moment, he whispered a few words in Gan Zhume's eyes, and the latter nodded. A few days later, the Gan family released news that they would sell a batch of congenital 5-element psychic gold at a fair price, as long as 2 trillion yuan each. It was also reported that the Gan family found a congenital 5-element gold mine in a large world, and the harvest was huge. Soon after the news was released, someone at the Ganjiapuzi came to the door. The comer has noodles with flour, hand-cranked fan, and head wearing a jade crown, but he was born with some good looks. It is the son of the Feng family, Feng Zontu. Feng Zontu heard that the Gan family had congenital 5-element psychic gold for sale, but it is not a good question. When did the number of psychic gold so much? As soon as he came in, he saw behind the counter, and he put 2 pieces at random. He squinted his eyes for a moment, and determined that it was right, it was the precious 5 elements congenital Lingjin. He asked, "Dude, is this thing on sale now?" The man laughed. "Yo, Dai Feng Feng. Sorry, we only accept reservations now, and we must pay the full price." Feng Zontu sneered. "Book. I want 100 yuan, do you have one?" As soon as the man reached out, "Yes, please pay for the 150 trillion yuan of longevity coins. The goods will arrive in a month at most." Feng Zontu snorted. "It is unreasonable to prepay." After that, he shook the folding fan and walked away. At this moment, Yi Ming came in and asked, "Man, I buy a piece of green gold and a piece of white gold. Do you have any spot?" Buddies still have the same set of rhetoric. Yi Ming said nothing, so he took out 3 trillion yuan to pay. At this time, the steward behind Feng Zontu looked humane. The young master had 5 pieces of green gold in his hands, and he spent 10 trillion yuan to buy it. Once the Gan family released a large amount of goods, the young master would lose a lot. Although this Fengjian map is for the Feng family, the pocket money is so much. 10 trillion yuan is a lot of money for him. He stopped Yi Ming from paying the money and laughed. "Friend, you want to buy Qingling gold?" Yi Ming looked at him alertly and stepped back, saying, "Sorry, I don't know you." Feng Zontu, snap, to open the folding fan, shook and said, "I am the young master of the Feng family, should you know now?" Yi Ming quickly bowed down to see the ceremony. It turned out to be Feng Daxia, and he is polite. "What advice does Daxiao have?" Feng Zontu said. "I saw that you want to buy Qingling gold. I happen to have $5 in my hand. Are you interested?" Yi Mingxi said. "Honestly, I am using it urgently. If it is in stock, it is best." Feng Zontu shook his fan again. "Of course there is spot stock, but the price is also more expensive." Yi Ming thought about it and said, "If the price difference is not too big, I am willing to do this business." Feng Zontu thought about it and said, "Let's go, 2.5 trillion yuan, I can sell it to you now." Yi Ming frowned suddenly and said, "I'm really sorry, I don't have much money in my hands, and I still need to buy a piece of white gold, so I can only make 2 trillion at most. If the younger ones feel less, then I'm really sorry, I can only give up." As soon as Feng Zontu gritted his teeth, thinking that 2 trillion yuan would not lose or make a profit, he immediately smiled. "Okay, 2 trillion yuan is 2 trillion, all make friends." The next thing went smoothly. The two traded on the spot. Yi Ming paid 2 trillion yuan, and the other side took out a piece of green gold. After the transaction, Feng Zontu left. Behind the shop, Gan Jumei turned out, and she smiled and said, "Big brother's strategy is very good. Otherwise, you don't want to buy it." Yi Ming. 9 sisters, I'm going back to practice. 9 sisters, do you want to go with me? Gan Jumei nodded again and again. Of course you have to follow the master. Yi Ming nodded. I have always wanted to do worship business, and I just have some money on hand. What do you do? Gan Jumei thought about it and said, well, as a worship agent, naturally, the larger the order, the more money you make, because the larger the amount, the lower the cost. Yi Ming, you gave me a VIP token at first, and it seems to be able to get a 30% discount. Besides the 70% discount, what else can you do? Of course. At the moment, Gan Jumei was extroverted and did not consider the interests of the Gan family at all. She thought for Yi Ming and said, if the purchase price exceeds 1 trillion yuan, you can make another 95% off the 10% off, more than 10%. Trillion, you can get a 10% discount. More than 80 trillion is a 15% discount. At its highest, more than 3 trillion, you can get a 20% discount. Quote. Yi Ming grinned and said, 35% off on 30% off, almost 59% off, that's not bad. Gan Jumei said, brother, can you buy more than 80 trillion yuan? Yi Ming nodded. Including the money to sell the Sword World token, I have about 86 trillion yuan in my hand. This 88 trillion yuan, including the 10 million eternal coins given by the palace, are converted into growth coins. It's 811 billion. In addition, the emperor gave 100 million eternal coins, which was converted into 81 trillion long-lived coins. However, 1 trillion yuan was given to the boy of time and space, 1 trillion yuan was given to Yunfeng, and 2 trillion yuan was purchased for the 5 elements Lingjun, so about 86 trillion yuan remained on hand. Gan Jumei's eyes brightened and she said, 86 trillion yuan is definitely a big customer. However, such big customers are generally not allowed to sell warships to outsiders. However, Brother Yi is the lord of the Gan family. This is only a minor problem. I can fix it. Yi Ming. We don't have much time. Now think about what battleships we want to buy. Gan Jumei pouted and smiled. Why do you have to buy a warship? Yi Mingyi said. Don't buy a warship. Isn't a warship the best weapon to sell? Of course not. The best seller is actually a puppet warrior. Gan Jumei said. The best thing for our war civilization is not a warship, but a puppet warrior. So far, war civilization can produce a puppet at the level of the longevity 9 kingdoms. The cost is also extremely high. Yi Ming bought the battleship Salamander, and knowing their power, he asked, how long does it cost? Kaiwai. Sure enough, Gan Jumei said, if you have a long life and a realm, how can you get 2 trillion yuan, which is more expensive? But most of the general forces buy the puppets at the level of the French 9 realms, and the price is only 7 or 8 million. 7 or 8 million? How can the advanced battleship Guilei be sold for 10 million? Yi Ming was puzzled. Gan Jumei. Battleships belong to the professional category, similar to the tactics and inscriptions. The price is generally a little higher. The 10 million yuan that my brother said is also a normal price. Yi Ming nodded. It seems that the level of rampant civilization in your war civilization is really high. But I remember, isn't there a rampant civilization? I don't know how it compares to you. Gan Jumei laughed. The puppet civilization has long been assimilated by our war civilization, and is now our branch. In addition, other civilizations such as rune civilization, mechanical civilization, elemental civilization, and fighting civilization have also been merged by us. In addition, our war civilization even has in-depth exchanges with ninja, witch, and evil civilizations. Otherwise, how could a war civilization be so powerful? Yi Mingchen was shocked and said, it seems that I underestimated the civilization of war. After 2 discussions, they decided to purchase 29 star battleships, 508 star battleships, 3,007 star battleships, 100,000 6-star battleships, and 1 million 5-star battleships. In addition, a large number of warship preparations have been purchased, such as the Doomsday Cannon, Nebula Cannon, Battleship Salamander, etc., with an official total value of 78 trillion. In addition, a large number of tadpoles were purchased, including Fahiu tadpoles, Faba tadpoles, and a small amount of longevity tadpoles, which cost 66 trillion yuan. Some of these puppets are used by Yi Ming personally, including 1 million heavenly craftsmanship, 100,000 rune arrays, 100,000 carved patterns, and so on. The final total amount was 144 trillion yuan. Yi Ming received a 70% discount on VIP tokens and paid only 108 billion yuan. And this 108 trillion yuan has exceeded 80 trillion yuan, and 30% off can still get 15% off. Therefore, the final price is 85.68 trillion yuan. All of a sudden, Yi Ming had little money left in his pocket, from 88 trillion to 400 billion. The efficiency of Gan Jumei is very high. Less than half a month, all the goods have been prepared and they have been put together in Yi Ming's Great World Ring. There is a big world in the ring of that big world, and it is large enough to put down these things. Otherwise, Yi Ming really has a headache where to put them. As soon as they got the goods, the two left the civilization of war and went to Tianyuan continent, where they appeared at Tiandaomen. When Yi Ming returned, he found that Xiaoxi had returned from Changshan Road. However, as soon as Xiaoxi returned, she closed the life and death barrier, and no one had seen her for a long time. He introduced Ma Shanchao to Gan Jumei, who was very polite before. After all, his status was there and he could not help but respect. The first thing to return to Tiandaomen is to create a split. Yi Ming's identity is very labor-saving, and it is built with a identity. This split is a professional puppet that is specifically used to create splits. The cost is higher than that of battleships. Yi Ming's puppet is equivalent to the strength of Changsheng 8 realms, and the price is as high as 16 trillion yuan. Even after the discount, it is as high as 95 trillion yuan. He originally wanted to buy a Changsheng Jujing, but the price was 4 times higher, which he couldn't afford. The use of the split body is very simple. Yi Ming only needs to use the divine shape to separate an idea and entrust it. However, since it is a longevity 8-horse level puppet, the thought must be quite powerful, and it is best to reach the level of law and heaven, so that it can exert its power. Yi Ming just had a thought, it was impossible to reach the level of the law heaven. Except for the Dharma King, every thought that can do it is extremely heavy, comparable to the heaven of law. But this can't help him. He used a means to put his thoughts into the gods first. In the early years, the sentiment he had received was already sold, and today the sentiment was also bought from the Gan family. The power of this asterisk is only one level of FA, but it is easy to use and one idea can be used without any restrictions. After that, he entrusted the divine spirit to the split body and controlled it indirectly. In this way, he solved the problem of not having a strong idea, and with a weak idea, he could control the powerful longevity 8 realm level. The appearance of this cricket looks no different from a real person. He looks ordinary and has his own characteristics, but his strength is unequivocal. Yi Ming also named it Yi Bei. After completing Yi Bei's position, he will be responsible for all business matters in the future. The 8 realms of longevity are also considered to be strong, not to mention the 9-star battleship and the 9-star flying hall. Yi Ming does not think that any strong enemy can threaten him. In this way, he can cultivate with his whole heart, without having to care about the tedious things. Among the 8 disciples, Bai Yuanxian, Tang Yuansheng, and Su Yuanzhen were determined to martial arts, and Yi Ming then imparted his insights to them. The 3 disciples were overjoyed when they learned that the master respected Wushu, and they were actually able to attack Valkyrie long ago, but the road was confused, so they all stalled. After receiving the practice, Tang Yuansheng sighed. Once the master finds the right way, he will create an incredible practice in the future. Brother Yuanlang will be afraid to regret it. Among the 8 disciples, Yi Yuanlang, Yi Yuanwang, and Gan Yuanjian, who are interested in Shinto, have all set foot on the path to Changshan to find their own opportunities. Pan Yuanlong and Wu Yuanji also went to the road of trials. I don't know which road they will take in the future. Their choice is also related to the uncertainty of Budo's future. If Yi Ming could take the method one step earlier, perhaps the 8 disciples would be firmly on martial arts. After everything was explained, Yi Ming didn't leave in a hurry. He practiced in the heavenly gate and continued to break through the 5 elements swords. The 5 elements and 5 emperors' swordsmanship is the 6th most important and well-known sword god. This is a difficult place to cultivate, and the required materials are precious. The materials of the innate 5 elements are worth tens of trillions of longevity coins. Even if Yi Ming has money to pay, it will be extremely painful. Fortunately, the emperor and the Dianzhuang helped each other. He bought only 1 Aoki Lingjun, and did not give much blood. At this moment, the 5 elements of the innate spirit gold are all together, and they can practice. At this moment, the 5 pieces of spiritual gold were wrapped in his shape, and Yi Ming impressed the divine forbiddenness and the inscription on the metal by means of subtle meaning, one after another, over and over again. This is a killing effort and can't wait. After 7 or 49 days, the 5 lingering gold had been transformed into sword pills. Each sword pill contained a asterisk 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 forbidden. I saw 5 bright blue, white, yellow, red, and black surrounding Yi Ming. Godlike rotation. At this point, he felt the power of the 5 elements swords, and any of them was extremely powerful, and he could easily kill FA9. If the 5 swords are in one, how powerful is the power, then I dare not imagine. However, what Yi Ming needs to do now is to combine the 5 swords into one, the first impact of the congenital triplet. 7 days later, a ray of light rose through the sky, broke through the clouds, broke through the sky, and penetrated into the infinite void beyond the great world. The light was so strong that it alarmed countless monks and drew their attention to the heavenly gate. However, at this time, the Tiandaomen had already surpassed all the forces, and no one dared to come to find trouble, just to see the excitement. There was a flash of light. Yi Ming had no sword pills outside of God's shape. There was only a colorful aura, hovering behind Yi Ming, restrained and deep. If you do and start, no one knows that it has the sword invincible and can kill everything. And the next moment, a long-awaited stunt was born, the Big 5 Elements Instant Kill. The Big 5 Elements of Instant Killing technique combined the killing step, the 5 elements of killing technique, and Yi Ming's self-awareness of several small methods. Its power is weak, it is infinitely close to the nirvana. Of course, as Yi Ming perfects this technique, it will one day become a real nirvana. After practicing his first stunt, Yi Ming was in a good mood, and he was about to go out to test the sword immediately. Since he tried the sword, he naturally wanted to find someone who was more powerful. In the end, he chose his own character, Yi Bei. In the sky above Tiandaomen, Yi Bei stood with his hands in his hands. He has the fighting power of 8 lives, and his defense is even more amazing. Yi Ming was about 3,000 steps away from him. Suddenly, he disappeared. A faint streamer of 5 elements appeared behind Yi Bei and strangled him to the sky. As soon as Yi Bei waved his sleeve, the 5 elements Jianguang was shaken by the fly, but condensed and did not disperse, reappearing outside the 3,000 steps. Yi Ming showed his true shape, wiped the blood on the corners of his mouth, and said, "The 6 realms of Changsheng is still too strong, and it has fallen to the 5 realms of Changsheng." It turned out that he asked Yi Bei to maintain his realm around Changsheng's 6 realms, but he lost a sword and was totally unacceptable. Yi Ming still beat him with a single palm this time, but this time he failed to hurt Yi Ming. Until the Changsheng 4 realms, Yi Ming's Big 5 Elements instantaneous killing technique finally cut off a piece of clothing corner of Yi Bei. This shows that he has a chance to hurt the other party. As for the 3 realms of longevity in the back, Yi Ming can already use this stunt to leave a mark on Yi Bei. In the second and first realm, Yi Ming is already capable of killing them. From this, he also judged his current strength, which is similar to that of the king of Changsheng 1 realm and 2 realms. Encountered by the 3 realms barely resisted, those who encountered the 4 realms would run away, and must not fight hard. After the sword test, Yi Ming was about to turn around, and the Sword World token on his body suddenly lighted up. It heard the voice of the host of the Sword. Everyone who got the token attention, the Sword World will open in 3 months. Everyone will be transmitted directly to the Sword World through the token. Yi Ming froze. The Sword World was about to open, much earlier than he expected. He called subconsciously, "Senior." He did not expect the other party to answer. After all, so many people got the token. To his surprise, there was immediate feedback on the token. "Yi Ming, number 3, you are eligible to ask questions." Yi Ming was overjoyed and said, "The predecessors asked at the sword fight meeting at the time, what was the purpose of the Sword World? Is it really looking for a master of a group of magic swords?" The voice said, "This is just one, but the main reason is that there is an ambitious evil force that wants to devour the Sword World, and we are protecting ourselves." Self-preservation. Yi Ming was puzzled. The voice. The Sword World is very divided. Some of the 5 supreme swords are willing to take refuge in that evil force, and some want to stay away from the evil force. Everyone is not convinced by anyone, so they decide to open the sword world and let those who have faith come. If you meet the right person, 3 of the top 5 swords will follow them to leave the sword world. Quote. Yi Mingqi said, "Do you mean a destined person? Are there 3 high-handed swords that only recognize people?" Naturally, the 3 high-handed swords were all created by human races. How can we surrender to other races? Yi Ming, can you tell me the origin of the 3 high-handed swords? Yes. The 3 high-handed swords are the sword of time and space, the sword of life, and the sword of virtue. The sword of time and space. Yi Ming Yishi, that seems to be left by the ancestors. The 3-handed swords are all reserved by the ancestors. Yi Ming was even more happy this time, saying, "But it's a pity that the sword world is already a big world and it is going to fall apart." Remaining 2 swords were made by non-human races and naturally have different ideas. They are swords of nothingness and karma, both made by the true God. Ming. So, the journey of the sword world is actually luck. See if you can get the favor of 3-handed sword. Not all before the sword world was not the sword world, it was a fragment that was once located in the core of the ancestral continent. There are countless treasures in it. When you enter the sword world, you may encounter these treasures at any time. In addition, the 3-handed high sword, once they find their owners, they challenge the other 2 supreme swords. Quote. Yi Ming was surprised. Challenge. The sword of nothingness and karma will also look for the owner. According to the agreement between the 2 parties, the 2 sides will carry out the ultimate sword fight. Whoever wins will have the sole control of the sword world. The loser must leave the sword world forever, can't come back. Quote. Yi Ming understood this and said, "So it is, but there are 2 swords on one side and 3 swords on one pair. How can this be compared? The chance of the supreme sword meeting the owner is very small. This time we are not very hopeful. 3 swords, it is not bad to find one." Yi Ming. But there are also many geniuses from other races. Are they easily selected? I have to say that most of the alien qualifications are above the human race, and the sword of karma and the sword of nothingness are likely to find the owner. Yi Ming. So it might be a 1-2, or even a 0-2 situation. It's really sad. If the master cannot be found, the 3 greatest swords will declare defeat, and will withdraw from the sword world. Thank you for your guidance, I understand now. Yi Ming said, "I have one last question. At first, sword fighting, Shu Wei must be set in Wusheng or Wushang. Now entering the sword world, what are the requirements for Shu Wei?" You're welcome. Today's requirement is that cultivation can only be a mage level. If cultivation is high or low, neither can enter the sword world. Yi Ming suddenly realized, saying, "It seems that the people who chose Wusheng and below are considered. The people at that time were Wusheng. If the qualifications are good enough, they should be Valkyrie or Mage. Now the better the qualifications, now the higher the state of cultivation, the greater the advantage." Quote. Yes, this is exactly the consideration of the 3 supreme swords. They just want to choose the amazing and amazing people. After a pause, I'm actually an unknown sword in the sword world. I hope 3 big swords can win, so you have to work hard to get their recognition. That is not only the luck of the sword world, but also your luck. Quote. Yi Ming said, "Please rest assured that I will work hard. Also, whether you succeed or not, please be my master," the voice said. Yi Ming was not surprised. The other party Baba talked to him for so long. It was naturally interested in him. He wanted to be his master. He smiled and nodded. "Thank you for your approval. After entering the sword world, you can always find me." Then the voice disappeared. Yi Ming's heart was not calm. The original sword world's journey involved so much. It was about the belonging of the whole world, and the 5 high-handed swords. The boy of time and space said, "The power of the sword of time seemed to be above it. The other 4 swords were of the same level. From this we can see how precious and powerful these 5-handed swords are." He said he would never give up anything. There are only 3 months left in the sword world. During this period, I must fully promote myself, and I must find a way to get the recognition of the 3 swords. If I can defeat the masters of the other 2 swords, it will be better, and I will be equal to gaining it. A big world. My current situation is really bad. Not only are there many enemies, but they are also powerful. If you don't find a hiding place for cultivation, you will be homeless in the future. Quote. Yi Ming thought about it, always felt that he must seize the opportunity in the sword world. Those who enter the sword world are all practicing in the heavens and heavens. The higher the practice, the more advantageous they become. Not long after he entered the realm of martial arts, these 3 months can only be fully promoted, and in the struggle 3 months later, he can gain an advantage and ultimately win. Invisible Kendo. The master's strength is actually not weak. He can already kill the kings of Changsheng 1 and 2 realms. However, these strengths are strong, but they are not necessarily the best. Therefore, in the past 3 months, the master is the most powerful. So as to reach the 3rd realm of Valkyrie, such as the legal realm. Quote. Fanshan Jianyan sneered. Unseen knowledge, the master's practice is first and foremost a solid practice, so eager cultivation, the harm outweighs the benefits, cannot be done. In my opinion, as long as you can break through to the 2nd realm of Valkyrie. Yi Ming was about to speak, and the boy of time and space said, "You are all idiots. The master doesn't need to break through the realm. He just needs to prepare some means of killing." The 3 parties have different opinions. Yi Ming couldn't help but rolled his eyes and said, "Everything you say makes sense. My idea is to try to break into the divine realm as much as possible, which can greatly enhance our strength. At the same time, I will develop a set of Nirvana comes out, and at the same time prepare more killing tools." Quote. A bright duel in the sword world is of course important, but at the beginning everyone is mixed with each other, and conflicts are inevitable. At that time, it would not be discussed who is high, who is low, and whose means of killing are powerful, and anyone can dominate others. Therefore, Yi Ming must go all out in these 2 aspects and cannot relax. Time and space boy. The Ruyi robe on the master should be upgraded a bit. Its power is good, but it's a little bit bad for the current master. Bei Ming was unwilling at the moment. "You are the chicken ribs, your family is chicken ribs." Time and space sneer. The more waste, the louder it grows. Yi Ming. Okay Bei Ming, would you like to improve a little? Bei Ming, who can improve himself, is an instrumental spirit, and he immediately said, "The master knows chaos and scripture. He can put a few sets of divine restraint in Ruyi's robes." Quote. Yi Ming. I have limited time and can only change parts for you first. Bei Ming. Master, in fact, during this time, I have been thinking about the next way to advance. Ruyi robe changes, and the means of killing and defending is not very strong. If you can make me devour a few more sets of armor, treasure armor will certainly be very rewarding. Quote. Yi Ming remembered that this Ruyi robe could change as desired, and could devour all the armor. He couldn't help laughing. Okay, let me eat enough in a few days. Collecting armor was naturally inevitable, and she contacted the Gon family to see how much she could collect. As for the money, he didn't have much money. He hasn't shipped so far, so he can only owe it first. On the other side, he also contacted the Emperor, asking for some armor, and some tools for life-saving killing. After doing all this, he went to practice on his own, preparing to create a set of Nirvana. With Nirvana, he will be invincible in the final battle. However, just a stunt, it took him a lot of work, let alone a Nirvana. He thinks about it, it seems that only the sky-changing sword tactics can satisfy. Fantianjianju was created by the ancestors in their early years. Even so, its power and realm are higher than those of the 5 elements swords. This sky-changing sword recipe changes endlessly, no matter how strong the user is, how strong it will be, and it will always be icing on the cake. Because of this, Yi Ming knew that it was extraordinary. However, it is also extremely difficult to distill magical powers from such swordsmanship. Even if Yi Ming had the chaos arithmetic and the 9-yuan arithmetic array, he wouldn't realize anything at a short while. Fortunately, there is a small amount of ancestor practice experience in his mind, which has greatly helped him. After 3 days of hard work, he finally gained something and began to gradually separate a magical power from the sword technique called Fengtianshu. The sword of the sky, as the name implies, a sword can be earth-shaking, infinitely powerful. The power of the sky can naturally seal the sky, so this sky spell is just an angle of strength presented by the sky-sharp sword. At the beginning of Yi Ming's performance of Fengtianshu, the momentum of the whole person soared several times, and the momentum was shocking. And after casting, his energy and spirit suddenly weakened by half, very weak. Even so, he still tried every day, 1 day, 5 days, 10 days. Finally, half a month later, he officially became familiar with Fengtianshu, and continued to develop it and sublimate it. For another half a month, an extremely powerful prototype of nirvana appeared in his mind, named Dawu Xing Zhen Sha Yin. This nirvana, which combines the 5 major elements of killing, the 5 elements, and the 3 magical powers and secret techniques of function, is extremely powerful and belongs to the very powerful means of nirvana. With such tactics, once Yi Ming casts it, the whole person is almost abolished, and it is difficult to recover for a while. It is necessary to use this technique with caution. When the nirvana is 10%, Yi Ming breaks through the situation and impacts the second realm of martial arts, refining the gods. The so-called refining is refining the Wuji sacrifice god. After considering it for a long time, he decided to make the newly refined 3-pointed 2-edged sword into the of martial arts. From then on, wherever the 3-pointed and 2-edged swords reach, all spirits worship and sacrifice to God. The 3-pointed, 2-edged sword was a fusion of his broken sword, Ruyi stick, and Ruyi mud. That good wish was obtained from the ear of the Emperor Xingtian, whose origin is unknown, and the broken sword is extremely sharp, and the origin is also unknown. However, the power of the fusion of the 2 sacred things is more than a few times stronger than before. In his early years, Yi Ming engraved Ruyi on the Ruyi stick to make it powerful and small. But right now, he will remember his most powerful means of killing on this 3-pointed 2-edged sword. His killing methods are not limited to the big 5 elements killing India. He can even remember more powerful killings on it the moment he casts his 3-pointed, 2-edged sword. It must be all the most powerful means of killing. Therefore, the 5 elements turn the sky seal, the blood-splintered blood finger, the magic hand steals the sky fist, the 5 elements kills the life technique, the big 5 elements town kills the seal, the turn sky sword method, the big Zhaodian sword method, the killing step and so on. Regardless of the martial arts, the magical power, all must be remembered on it. This is undoubtedly a complicated and arduous process. If you do it by yourself, it can never be completed without more than 10 or 20 years. Fortunately, Yi Ming had been prepared for a long time. He purchased 1 million heavenly symbols, 100,000 carved owls, and 100,000 rune owls. The Tiangong Guilei is not used, but the glyph Guilei and rune Guilei can be under his control, at the same time imprint runes on the 3-pointed 2-edged sword, and set up a large array of prohibitions. You should know that these maggots are equivalent to the 9-level cultivation practices. They are only more appropriate and more efficient than Yi Ming to do these tasks. Yi Ming only needs to think about it and control them. Of course, mindful of the divine forbidden and large array, precious materials are also needed. Fortunately, this is nothing. Yi Ming can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. This cost is not a problem. Over the sky, just listen to Yi Ming and say, "Rise." The 3-pointed, 2-edged sword kept growing, 10 meters, 100 meters, and 1,000 kilometers, and finally turned into a giant soldier blade that was 800 miles long and had a hill-like diameter across the air. The 100,000 glyphs and the 100,000 rune arrays immediately took the material and flew to different positions of the 3-pointed and 2-edged knives, and began to remember and arrange the work. Yi Ming did not do these complicated tasks naturally. He had the most important thing to do, which was the core of the three-pointed and two-edged sword. This battle array will lead all the nirvana, stunts, magic skills, and magical powers, and comprehensively use their power to achieve the best and strongest effect. This core killing is like the brain of Wu Ziji, which is the top priority. Yi Ming couldn't ignore it and had to take the shot himself. He and the uncles went on at the same time, half a month later, and the two sides almost completed. The surface of that huge three-pointed, two-edged knife was covered with large arrays, restraints, inscriptions, and runes, and they perfectly combined as if one. When the core of Yi Ming's formation was also completed, the three-pointed and two-edged sword suddenly hummed, and on the surface, it actually generated two kinds of killing arrays by itself. These two kinds of killing arrays, one is a black inscription on the blade tip, it should belong to the original broken sword, the other is a golden prohibition, appearing on the handle, it should belong to Ruyi stick. Both prohibitions have spread towards each other, and even Yi Ming's core team cannot control them. I saw that Jingguang and Blacklight met at the blade and the handle, entangled with each other, and no one was convinced. I don't know how long it has been tangled, but it merges into a black and gold pattern, and then connects with Yi Ming's core array. Until now, these three-pointed and two-edged knives were truly fully integrated, and the broken sword and Ruyi stick were indiscriminate and integrated into one. The two killing arrays it created formed a new nameless killing array. Even Yi Ming couldn't judge how powerful it was. After the mighty project of a three-pointed, two-edged sword, Yi Ming's only hundreds of billions of long-lived coins were spent. He opened his mouth and said, "Where is the three-pointed, two-edged sword?" "Some there." When the blade shook, heaven and earth resonated, it suddenly shrank and hovered in front of Yi Ming. Yi Ming only felt that this three-pointed and two-edged sword became a part of himself completely, and was his second elementary god. Moreover, it can think independently. Inside the blade body, the meridians and acupoints are rapidly forming, becoming a living being and having life. Sacrifice. Yi Ming bit through the tip of his tongue and spewed a spit of blood, which was immediately absorbed by the three-pointed and two-edged sword, and the connection between the two was stronger. And Yi Ming also grasped this magic soldier, only feeling the strength and fighting power, he doubled in an instant. This promotion proves that he has stepped into the second realm of martial arts and refining the **** realm. In the endless years in the future, Yi Ming can continuously strengthen and upgrade the magic soldier, making it more suitable for himself. And it will accompany Yi Ming for life. Until Yi Ming dies, it will die and lose consciousness. Yi Ming even sprayed 9 blood, and Yi Ming was dizzy. He said, "I smell the myth, there is a myth and legend, there is a man named Erlang God, and the sword in his hand is the three-pointed two-edged sword. How about I call you Yi Erlang?" Yes. The three-pointed, two-edged sword was actually very satisfied, and it should be Yi Ming. Erlang, let me practice it myself. In other words, the three-pointed and two-edged sword turned into a streamer, flew into Yi Ming's left eye, and hid in the form of God. Yi Ming stepped into the martial arts duality, and became a nirvana, feeling good. In fact, more than a month ago, there was other good news. Both the Emperor and Gan Zhume had got what he wanted. Both sides provided a large number of treasure armor and other items, as well as some killing equipment, are the best of all kinds. As soon as he received something, Yi Ming put armor and the like into the space of Ruyi robe, and ordered him to devour it. In terms of killing tools, the Emperor provided a set of suicide killing needles, a total of 99.81 million. Once urged, the longevity of power is also over. This needle is extremely expensive and can only be used once, but Yi Ming chose it in addition. The Emperor also sent a black arrow called Soul Sword. This arrow just needs to be thrown at the opponent, it will be able to shoot into the opponent's soul, causing irreversible damage. This tool can only be used once, and it will be used once. Gan Zhume also brought 2 tools, one is a square black cloth, the size of the quilt skin, tattered and covered with oil. This piece of cloth, called the heavenly cloth, does not matter what magic weapon or powerful weapon the opponent uses. Just use this cloth to contaminate it, lose its spirituality, and become an ownerless thing. After hearing the effects of this dirty cloth, Yi Ming was shocked and asked Gan Zhumei, "Is this thing very valuable?" Gan Zhumei blinked and said, "This is the treasure of the township of my Gan family, which I secretly took out." Yi Ming was speechless for a while. What a huge family the Gan family was, and he was very grateful to see how precious this thing was. The second piece is an evil weapon called the soul-burning lamp. Once the lamp is lit, everyone's spirits will start burning wherever the light shines, providing energy to it until death. When all the people in the light died, the light went out and became a waste product. Therefore, it is also guaranteed to be used once. Having obtained these 4 things, Yi Ming was very satisfied and felt that he was fully prepared. Counting the time, 3 months were running out. Instead, he was in no hurry and did not practice every day. He just meditated and waited for the time to come. One day before the sword world opened, he suddenly received a message from Yunfeng. At the legendary school, he and Yunfeng have left thousands of messengers to convey messages between different worlds. Fu Yiliang, Yunfeng's voice came. "Brother, where are you? My master invited me and said that there are important things to discuss." This kind of messenger cannot convey many words, and it is immediately lost. Yi Ming was puzzled. The master of Yunfeng was one of the 3 major forces in the legendary school. What did he find for himself? But Yunfeng would not hurt him. He thought he would take a trip. Fortunately, the space-time boy shuttles quickly, and it is not difficult to go to the legendary school. It will be a moment. When one arrived at the site of the legendary academy, Yi Ming just thought of where to go first, and saw a golden bridge flying from the front and striding in front of him. A voice was not too light or heavy, still ringing in my ears. "Disciple Yi Ming, come quickly." Yi Ming immediately set foot on the golden bridge, and the golden bridge retracted, and immediately reached a peak high into the sky. On the peak is a tall building with a hall inside. A beautiful young woman stands calmly and quietly. Behind her, the white clouds are lingering, the fairy mist is lingering, like the fairy in the picture. Not far away, Yunfeng looked at it with a smile, and said, "Brother, this is my master, Mr. Tang." Yi Ming knew that the teachers of legendary schools were generally called sir, regardless of gender. The woman nodded slightly. "It bothers you to come back from afar." Yi Ming. "Sir calls, disciples dare not come. I do not know what advice Mr. has." Woman. "I'm Tang Yuexian. If you like, you can call me Tang. Does the other person want to accept himself as a student?" He glanced at Yunfeng, who repeatedly winked, meaning that he had to rush to worship. Yi Ming bowed down at once. Students have met master. Only his own teacher is called master, and generally he is only called a teacher or a gentleman. Tang Yuexian nodded. "Get up and talk." Yi Ming stood up and Tang Yuexian said, "I want you to come here. One is to accept you as an apprentice, and to stop other people's thoughts. The other is to make you do one thing." Yi Mingxin said that it was true that the pie would not fall from the sky. He asked, "What does master want his disciples to do?" Tang Yuexian. "Don't ask why, just write down what I ask you to do. If you can do it, you promise, you can't, and you're not reluctant to be a teacher." Suddenly flickered, and he intuitively nodded. Tang Yuexian said, "The first thing I want you to do is to learn his unique skill from the nebulous master Nangong Shangxi." Yi Ming frowned slightly. "Master, then Nangong's prosperity is also my teacher. Since I can't ask why, I can't agree to this." Yunfeng was anxious and said, "Brother, he is a disciple of Nangong's prosperity. He should teach you the exercises. Why don't you agree?" Ming said, "Brother Feng, this worldly thing has a cause and effect. It is better to be." Tang Yuexian said lightly, "If you don't want to, then forget it. One day you figured it out, and it's not too late to come to me again." In that year, as a teacher, he was harmed by the prosperity of Nangong and knew him well. "You must hold your dead whole and control you in every way. By then, you will only be rounded and squeezed by him. There is no fighting back. Quote. Yi Ming. If so, the disciples must stay away from the nebulae. It's too late. Now you are an important chess piece laid by many people. You can't avoid it anyway. If you want to do something for me, I can also point you to one or two. If you don't, you will become a victim. Yunfeng hurriedly said, Brother, you have to believe in Master. Master never lied. Yi Ming was unmoved and said, Brother Feng, I have my own rules for doing things, you don't need to advise. Yunfeng sighed again and again. It was a pity.